We could be wrong. We could be wrong. Candace Owens could be right. Candace Owens could be right. If the black community is not tired of being sick and tired. I'm going to say this again. Candace Owens could be right. If the black community is not tired of being sick and tired. If the black community only wants to talk about police brutality. If the black community only wants to talk about racism. If the black community only wants to talk about how bad white people are, Candace Owens could be right. Y'all might want to share this. This is about to get real crazy. Candace Owens says that why don't we have a conversation about black on black crime? Why don't we talk about child molestation that happens in the urban communities? Why don't we talk about better education? Why don't we talk about things that hinder black people from being successful, such as derogatory rap music, anything that buys into the stereotype that black people are bad? Why are we not talking about policing ourselves as black people? Candace Owens could be right. If black people are afraid to have the tough conversation, I need y'all to share this. Candace Owens believes that black people are not ready to police themselves up. They are not ready to sit down and hold themselves responsible for the things that they do. Could she be right? Could she be right? Is it only important for black people to point out Black Lives Matter? Could she be right? Why do we uplift music that is derogatory toward our black women? Music that are derogatory towards our black men? Why in societies do we stay next door to drug dealers and we don't call the police? Why do we hear domestic violence go on, but we don't get involved? We just hope that they can get over their problems. Why do we hear about child molestation and there's little to do about it, whereas this uncle is able to molest child after generation after generation? Is Candace Owens right? Is black people afraid to have the tough conversation? Could she be right? I'm scratching my head like, wait a minute. Now, we get the part that, we know she fucked up in reference to what she said about George Floyd. We're not letting that shit go. We're not going to let her kill his legacy. We're not going to let her destroy his character. But the fact of the matter is, I'm asking myself, because you have to ask yourself the hard question sometimes. When people start saying things. Now, here's the thing. We know that Candace Owens is not for the black community. She wants to fit into white America. We get it. But sometimes some people say some shit that make you sit up in your seat and say, well, hold on, wait a minute. Is black people having the hard conversation? Is black people holding themselves accountable? And I got to ask myself and give myself either, Mario, it's a yes or no. This is tough love to myself. Are we holding ourselves accountable? Are we now saying, let's boycott for one day, a total blackout, and we're going to mess up the white society. We're going to mess up white America. We're going to destroy the economy. Okay. Then what? I said the same thing after the looting. I said the same thing after the protesting is kind of dying down or whatever. What do you do next? Are we afraid to have accountability as black people? Or is it more important to point out all of the discretion of white people? Is it more important to hold them responsible for all the shit that they done to black people? Well, damn, I'm mad. I'm mad that that black man died like that. So now I'm going to take this opportunity to express my anger. I'm not going to worry about passing any laws. I'm not going to worry about any legislation. I'm not going to worry about reaching out to congressmen, going down to City Hall and marching and speaking up and protesting. I'm going to worry about burning a bunch of shit because I'm angry and I'm upset and I got the right because of slavery, because of all this oppression, because I'm reminded of all the things that happen to me on a daily basis every time I pull money out my pocket. But do I really have the tough conversation? That's what this is about right now. I need to talk to y'all black people. Come here. Can Candace Owens be right when she stands in front of white America and she says, I'm going to tell you why black communities are so bad? I'm going to tell you that the black community is scared to have the tough conversation to police themselves. Should we be outraged that she's outing the black community, or should we be more outraged at the fact that we can't give you any examples of what we've been doing to fix the shit? I'm at a loss. I'm at a loss. I'm at a loss. Is she a coon? Is she an Uncle Tom? Or is she somebody pointing out some shit that say, I know your weaknesses? This conversation is to correct Candace Owens. We're not scared of the tough conversations. We're not scared to talk about black on black crime. We're not scared to talk about child molestation. We're not scared to talk about mass incarcerations. We're not scared to talk about lack of education and opportunity. We're not scared to have the tough conversation. Candace Owens, are you listening to me? See, here's the thing. It's one thing to point out what black communities and what is going on that affects the black communities, but it's another thing to help provide solutions. When you have your platform and you tell white people the black community is so bad because of X, Y, and Z, I'm just curious why those same people that advocate for you, they never come back and say, well, Candace, won't you give them some guidance? Won't you be a black leader? Won't you stand not in front of white America, but in front of the black communities and say, let me help you. Let me help educate you. Let me help guide you. Let me help lead you. Candace Owens got it wrong. She got it wrong. You can point out people's mistakes, but if you do nothing to help them, you do nothing to help build them, to help motivate them, to help encourage them, then what good are you? You have to have a balance. And if you do not provide that balance, then it's off. Then it's one-sided. A lot of celebrities right now that we're expecting to come from wherever they are in the high mountains and just say something for the black community in reference to encourage and empower us. Celebrities are saying, i.e. Morgan Freeman. And there are other celebrities saying, Lil Wayne, why are we still talking about racism? These are people that we consider to be celebrities that are prominent to a certain extent, to a certain degree. That means they can come back to your communities and get treated like kings and queens. But these people sit in front of white America. They go on CNN. They go on these live talk shows. And they say, why are black people still talking about racism? Lil Wayne says, I ain't got no problem with racism. Morgan Freedom says, why are we bringing up racism? This is the land of opportunity. So my question is, if the people that you admire, that you look up to, and that you support, and you call them celebrities, why are you giving them the time of day when they don't feel that they have an issue with racism? Is racism the problem? Morgan Freeman says, if you're not empowering your household, then what good are you to a nation? I had to look at that. I had to ask myself, like, okay, what does he mean by empowerment? Does he mean that I need to make sure I encourage my children to get an education, encourage my children to be productive citizens, encourage my children to learn and love languages and how to communicate, encourage them and let them know that they are loved at home so that way they don't have to go out into the street and find love elsewhere? Speak positivity into their life, show them how to plan and actually communicate with people instead of yelling and screaming and getting overly emotional? Is that what he mean? Empower the household so you can be productive? Black people, we need to make sure that we hold ourselves accountable. We need to make sure that we're doing the shit in our communities that sends the message, we're not about a bunch of bullshit. So when the Candace Owens of the world get out there and say, I'ma expose y'all by any means necessary. I'm going to do the shit that's going to embarrass y'all. It ain't going to affect me, but I'm going to embarrass y'all. The question is, why would she think that black people are afraid to have a tough conversation? They're afraid to talk about black on black crime. Now, here's my issue. The issue is that it's not just about talking anymore. George Floyd's death showed us that. It takes action. It takes action. It takes not only burning down buildings, but burning down legislation. Not only screaming at white people, but screaming at Congress. It takes action. It takes strategy. It takes togetherness. It takes people being united for a cause. Well, my question to the black community right now, are we united? Are we going against everything that doesn't support the black community, that doesn't put the black community in a good light? That means all of ratchet television. Are we stopping watching that? Are we stopping supporting rap music? Are we saying no more savages, we want grown women? No more bosses, we want wives. No more celebrity status and men who more infused with, I want to be in the club and look like this and look like that. No, we want fathers. We want husbands. We want commitment. We want loyalty. We want trust. We want honesty. What message are we sending, black community? Are we saying, let's stop supporting white people, but we individually are not going to do anything to support ourselves? What message are we sending? Are we boycotting the right shit? Are we putting together the right ingredients to send a message to the world? We're tired of everything, not just police brutality. We tired of black on black crime. We tired of the social media or the media in general depicting black people as X, Y, and Z. Are we excited about doing something different? What message do we send to the next generation? Mom, I want to grow up to be a savage. It's not just a rap song. It's not just catchy lyrics. It's a message that you instill inside your kid's head that this shit is okay. Being provocative, being loud, being nasty and ratchet is okay. So when we promote that, should we get mad if Candace Owens says, look at this shit? Are we policing ourselves is the question. Are we afraid to have the tough conversation? Can Candace Owens be right? Only if the black community does not police themselves. Only if the black community does not support change. And it's not just what white people are doing wrong to the black community. How the white man is oppressing the black man. It's what we're doing. Are we having the tough conversations? Are we doing the shit to show we're proactive? We're not just proactive to mitigate something that involves white people. We're mitigating everything. Everything that sends a message that black people are not responsible. Black people are not educated. Black people are not trustworthy. Black people are not loyal. Black people are not dedicated. Some people say, well, let's talk about slavery. Don't forget to mention slavery. You don't see the color of my skin? You don't think I'm reminded of that? You don't think I'm reminded when I see my children? We tracking slavery. We got it. But what are we doing on a daily basis to better ourselves? Are we challenging ourselves to be better? We can leave a whole revolt in how negative and gruesome and condescending. We can talk about how bad the system is when it comes to black people, because Black Lives Matter. But we still have to have the action to show that we care about Black Lives Matter. We got to show that we care. And it can't just be a lot of anger. It can't just be a lot of yelling and screaming. We have to show on paper. We have to show with intellect. We have to show with positive action. We have to raise our kids better. Is rap music cool? Hell yeah, I be vibing. But is that something I want to preach to my 3-year-old? Like, yo, bitches and hoes, getting money, chasing my bag. At what point in time are we just parents? We just role models and we protectors. We people that just want to have a good life. I don't want to stay in the projects, but I don't have to stay in a neighborhood with all white people neither. I just want to live my life. I just want to be happy. I just want to, be able to walk out my door and get my newspaper without worrying about ducking gunshots. A lot of people want that. This is not about condemning anyone. This is about us having a tough conversation, because Candace Owens said we were afraid to. And I am not afraid. We are not afraid. We're not saying we can't breathe no more. We breathing. We living. We're going to be productive. We're going to say out loud, clear for all to hear and for all to know, this is our stand. This is the hard conversation you said we was afraid to have. Candace Owens, I'm still talking black to you. Don't just listen to this. Share this. Tag a friend in this. Have the conversation, because we were told we couldn't. Stop deflecting. Stop getting upset and having no strategy with your anger. Your words are falling not on deaf ears. People are hearing you. They're hearing the anger. Black people. White America is hearing your anger. But when you dilute it and pollute it with, I'm going to burn down all y'all shit. Well, the question is, what shit do we own? When you show me the Walmarts and the Targets that we own, okay, that's a counterbalance. I'm going to burn your shit, but we got our own shit. What shit do we own? You fuck up your neighborhoods. You burn down the shit in the places that you go for products and services to help support yourself and your family. I don't care what race you are. This shit at the end of the day don't make sense. And to predicate that to be, I was mad and I was upset. We got to treat racism like a bad relationship. We got to be done with it. We got to treat police brutality like a bad relationship. We got to be done with it. We got to walk out. Enough's enough. We got to be tired of being sick and tired. But we can't just talk about police brutality and racism. We got to talk about policing ourselves up. The black community has to be tired of being sick and tired. Could Candace Owens be right? We'll see. Adult up.